So you fell through the roof.
Yes.
Do you want to explain how that happened?
We hired help that was ineffective with explaining where windows were when asked.
And who was the hired help?
My father. It goes back to the geriatric old man syndrome. They can't see good.
We are on day 2 of Operation Save the Barn from collapsing from snow overload. I got word this morning that a barn just a few miles from us, actually their arena collapsed. So, and another local barn is doing the same thing as us and got heaters going in their arena as well. Last night I had to stop filming because it got dark, but my husband stayed out in the arena and the one heater quit working. We had it on in the overhang section here, and he moved it into the larger part of the arena because basically it was overheating. So it had to be moved to a bigger area. So he moved it and then got it running again, and it took a couple hours, but finally this section right here, this overhang, everything slid off. And it's funny because I was in the house and it sounded like a roll-up door getting rolled up when it came off, and it all just shot off. It was all ice on the bottom, so water had been it had been melting for a long time. Water was just dripping off it, but it was taking a really long time to come off. But it was hard because we couldn't isolate this section here. We couldn't get any heat underneath that, so we had to focus on it all the heat being from the top section of the barn and bringing it off that way. So we're hoping that now we're waiting for the small barn to heat up and come off, but it's taken a little while. We've had plenty of situations in the past where there's been a lot of snow on the roof, and I've been concerned simply because I've been through this before, and it's scary. It's not something that I ever want to go through again, and I don't want to put any human or horse in danger. As of this morning, our horse community has a total of 3 arenas now that have collapsed from the weight of the ice and snow. This is a real problem in our area, and you know, I've never gotten to the point where I felt like I needed to get the snow off. That we've always had enough sunshine where eventually it does come off, and this year we've just been bombarded with snow, so it's been hard to keep up on it. Now what we've got going on is our small barn, we call it. As you can see in the center section there where there's 2 different angles, the snow has really collected up there. So we've had 2 heaters running inside of the small barn for about an hour now, and now they're changing out the tanks. We've used up 2 tanks of propane so far, so we're moving on to the next ones. Yeah, here's the back side of our small barn. Definitely want that snow to come off. I really hope that it works out. So this overhang, this big shelter that's here, is attached, but the heat is not going to be affecting that part of the roof. It's only on the inside, so I'm not sure what's going to happen about this coming off. So we'll have to see what happens, but there is a lot of creaking and cracking going on up there. We've got 1 heater set up over here, and this is going to hopefully take care of that side, and then we've got this heater set up to take care of that side of the barn. So, and it's probably, I'd say it's probably close to 70 degrees in here right now with these 2 going. It's pretty hot. So what we plan to do is, if we can get it off the main part of the barn first, then we're gonna open up, we're gonna point both of these heaters at the stalls and open up a couple of the stall doors so the heat can go out and rise, because heat rises. So we'll use that to our advantage and see if we can get the heat to warm up that outside enough to slide off the sides out there. Oh, I hear cracking. I've got my mares out there and they are in the paddock, but I'm not concerned because this is not going to empty into their paddock. So I don't have to worry about the snow coming off, you know, while they're in the overhang or something like that. They can stand far enough away and watch what's going on. They're probably going to spook a little bit, but I'm not worried about them like going through the fence or anything like that. I walked away for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, not even. It was probably a minute and a half, and this whole side fell off the small barn. Well, thank goodness it came off. Now we wait for the other side. Okay, we've lost half of it. Wow, look at that. A couple minutes ago you could see the horses. Okay, it's about 80 degrees in here now, maybe even a little bit warmer. We've got this half of the roof, everything just slid off, and now we're gonna move the heaters to point more in that direction, so we can try to get that part off. That's gonna be the tricky half because that's where the overhang is. We've got these weird angles to this barn. So I don't know if you can see way up in there, that goes above the stalls. So it's kind of like a double roof. We've got two angles. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna open up that stall door and then this end stall door, and hopefully between having those open with the heaters pointing at it and the sun coming and shining in here, hopefully that's enough to get that to slide off. So here's a problem I'm having now, is I gotta make sure that these horses stay out, because I've got the heater right there. So I've gotta really watch these guys. I think I got an idea. Uh-oh. This one just stopped. All right, well, I'm gonna go get John and see what to do about this. Ona is pretending that she's on a beach somewhere with the warm breeze blowing her hair. If anything, I can say that this is really good for her. There's a lot of commotion going on. There's the big fan right there, blowing heat her way. I'm gonna go ahead and use a scary object to my advantage. Okay, here we go. Plastic bag time. With the plastic bags in place, Ona decided that it would be better to go and find something different to do. Mika's belly is rocking and rolling right now. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to meet that little critter that's in her belly. Here's how I'm keeping my mares from trying to sneak into the stalls. And it's being very effective. Reached the point where we may not be able to get the rest of the snow off of this building, which I guess is okay. It's a pretty strong structure since the roof has a couple of different angles. Pardon my squinting, the sun is so bright I'm not used to seeing it, that I can't keep my eyes open. We've still got a lot of melting going on up on top here, but I think we've reached a point where we're probably just gonna pull the plug on trying to get the rest of this snow off here. We're gonna let the propane tanks run out, and once that happens, we're just kind of done. While I'm waiting for the propane tanks to run out of fuel, I'm just gonna hang out with my critters. Hey, Katie. What are you doing? Just a little update several hours later, and this stuff is not coming off on its own, so we are up on top shoveling it off. Jason was still really concerned with the amount of snow that was still on the roof, so he took it upon himself to shovel it, and then this happened.
So I was on this roof, and there's windows there,
Okay, so you can see,
which is interesting
like,
because
a
if
window,
you look at the
that's a
three
window.
windows that are on this side, the barns are made as a mirror image. So that same window is right there. Similar to
so
that window.
that window there,
right there.
and then there's another window over here.
But there used to be a window over there that doesn't exist anymore.
Why?
Because I fell through it. I was tired and it hurt. So after I was tired and it hurt, when I was crabby, because I had to go find steel and I had to patch the roof because we had a hole in it.
So why were you on the roof?
Because I love you.
But what were you doing up there?
I was shoveling your barn off.
Yeah.
So it doesn't collapse and crush you.
But why did it have to be shoveled?
Because we don't live in Arizona. And somebody, I'm not sure who it was, but whoever it is, they need to be punished. But somebody made Mother Nature really angry this year. And she punished us with lots of snow.
So we had the heaters going, and the heaters did not melt the snow off the roof. So Jason took it upon himself to climb up on the roof and shovel it
5.5 feet of it.
For 3 hours or so.
Times 2.
And I climbed up on the roof with him, and
after it was done.
It was not done.
It was done.
It was not done.
It was done.
It wasn't done. And I wanted to video from up on the roof because the view is so pretty up there. And I just thought it was kind of neat. And I thought that he would be crabby with me if I videoed from on top of the roof.
You are right.
So, but literally 2 seconds after I thought that, I'm standing by him and he disappears.
I have cat-like reflexes though, which is good.
Thank goodness, because he literally fell up to his armpits.
Strong like bull.
Yeah. And I have no idea how, but he managed to, before he even jumped out of the hole, his first word was, do you remember what your first word was?
I don't remember, no.
Dad! You said there wasn't any windows on this side.
He was wrong.
Yeah.
In his defense, the window looked surprisingly like the ceiling. But he should have looked a little harder because that was not ideal.
Yeah, it literally looks exactly like the ceiling, except for when there's light coming through it, then you can see it. So it was, yeah, it was a very honest mistake, but...
No creatures were harmed in the making of the video, so that was good.
No husbands were harmed. So, and then the next thing Jason did is he stood next to the hole and looks down and says...
I don't remember.
You don't remember what you said?
No.
He says, yeah, I almost died.
That's true.
Because if he had fallen through, so let's go over to the whole, let's see, where is it?
It's where the
Okay, so
new steel is in that area.
So the new steel is right, okay, here we go. You can see it. You see the square? That's where it is. So he came through, yeah, it's a rectangle. He came through right there. And had he actually fallen through, he would have hit in this rafter, right, or this, what's that called?
Wood that was built wrong.
So he would have hit this, and then there was a propane tank right here. He would have landed on the propane tank and then probably hit the heater that was right there.
The good news is that you would have got a good insurance payout, so, and you could have moved to Arizona with that.
Okay. So, thank you, husband, for shoveling my roof and almost dying.
You're welcome. I mentioned before that I love you, right? And that's why I was doing it.
Yes.
Everyone remembers that, so hit the like and subscribe button because we earned that one.
True story. True story.